You might have been wrong about this your entire life. The biggest problem you face is not that you make decisions too slowly. It is that you make them too fast. We grow up hearing the same message over and over again. Speed is everything. React faster, move quicker, decide before everyone else does. Bruce Lee is often used as proof of this idea. People love to quote him and say speed is the key to winning. But here is the part almost no one talks about. That idea is incomplete. And in many situations, it is simply wrong. In real combat and in real life, the most dangerous person is not the one who moves the fastest. It is the one who knows exactly when to slow down on purpose. Today, this is not a video about martial arts. This is about a mental problem that quietly determines the quality of your entire life. How can your brain make the right decision in 1/10 of a second? And also make the right decisions when the consequences will shape the next 10 or 20 years. Bruce Lee once said that the highest level of martial arts is not technique, but philosophy. Yes, he trained for extreme speed, fast enough that an opponent had no time to react. That kind of speed matters in emergencies. It is the part of your brain that must act instantly, without debate. But at the same time, Bruce Lee was a serious thinker. He wrote constantly. He tested ideas for years. The system he created was not rushed. It was refined through long periods of reflection. So here is the paradox. How can someone be both incredibly fast and incredibly deep at the same time? Does speed defeat slowness? Or does slowness create real speed? This question is not limited to martial arts. It shows up in your career choices, your investments, your relationships, and every major turning point you face. We cannot keep using vague words like fast and slow. Sometimes fasting is not skill, it is impulse, and sometimes slow is not weakness, it is intelligence. If you want to move to a higher level in life, you have to rethink how your brain makes decisions. You need to learn how to run a dual system. This shift alone can separate average outcomes from exceptional ones. Here is the update most people never make. Modern thinking no longer relies on the simple labels of fast thinking and slow thinking. Those terms sound helpful, but they create confusion. A better way to understand this is to think in terms of a reaction system and a calibration system. So what is the reaction system? Think of it like one-tap payment on your phone. Its goals are simple. Maximum speed, minimum effort, lowest energy costs. It handles most of your daily life. You hear a sudden break and your body moves back. You see a simple math problem, and the answer appears instantly. In a physical situation, an arm lifts and your hand's blocked before you think. This system does not invent. It does not analyze. It pulls from patterns you've already practiced thousands of times. It runs on shortcuts stored deep in your brain. Now compare that to the calibration system. This is the system you use when you plan the next 10 years of your financial life. It exists to handle new problems, big problems, and high-risk problems. It demands your full attention. It feels slow. It is mentally expensive. But what it produces is something the reaction system never can. A decision that actually fits a new reality. When you seriously consider quitting your job to start a business, or investing in a field you do not fully understand yet, this is the system you are supposed to use. These two systems are not enemies. They work together. One is autopilot. The other is manual control with precision tuning. Here is where most people go wrong. They use the reaction system for the most important decisions of their lives. Decisions that clearly require calibration. That single mistake creates most regret and most average results. Imagine this. A hot investment opportunity appears. It looks familiar. It follows the same pattern as things that worked for you before. Similar technology, similar people, a familiar success story. Your reaction system jumps in immediately. This looks just like the last big win. Move now. Do not hesitate. You might decide in less than a minute, guided mostly by emotion and pattern recognition. But if you pause and activate the calibration system, everything changes. You slow down on purpose. You spend hours reading real financial data. You research the leadership. You think carefully about what could go wrong over the next 5 years. One response is instinct. The other is wisdom. So the real skill is not deciding faster. It is knowing when to force the slower system to take control. The reaction system runs automatically. The calibration system only works when you deliberately turn it on. Why is the reaction system so fast? Because it does only one thing. It recognizes old patterns and reuses old experiences. That efficiency is its strength, and that limitation is its greatest weakness. Look at Bruce Lee's training again. Why repeat the same movements tens of thousands of times? Striking, footwork, conditioning. The goal was not variety. The goal was automation. Complex judgments were pushed out of conscious thoughts and into automatic responses. Decisions that once required efforts were transferred from the calibration system into the reaction system. Once that transfer is complete, the body responds instantly. No hesitation. In real combat, that speed could mean survival. It also means maximum efficiency. But here is the danger you cannot ignore. The moment your opponent does something completely new, the reaction system can freeze. Like a computer encountering corrupted data, it does not know how to respond. In everyday life, this looks like relying too heavily on old paths, trusting only what worked before. The very patterns that once made you successful slowly become the chains that hold you back. Inside the reaction system, there are 3 traps quietly destroying long-term value. The first is fixed bias. The reaction system wants fast answers, so it clings to first impressions. If you heard early on that an industry has no future, your brain labels it immediately. Even if that industry later changes completely, your instincts may block you from seeing the opportunity. The second is path dependence. You stay on the same road because it once worked, even when the road is clearly broken, crowded, or no longer going where you want to go. The third is mental laziness. Deep thinking is expensive. Your brain is designed to save energy, so it pushes you towards the easier option, letting the reaction system handle everything, even when it should not. To escape these traps, you must deliberately block the reaction system from making certain decisions. You have to force control back to the calibration system, even when it feels uncomfortable. Activating the calibration system is not about motivations or slogans. It requires a thinking framework that goes against your instincts. You have to train it like a muscle until it becomes reliable in daily life. To activate the calibration system, you need 3 habits that feel unnatural at first. That discomfort is exactly why they work. The first habit is forced contradiction. You deliberately challenge your own conclusions. When your reaction system reaches a fast answer, for example, deciding to invest in a company, you do not act right away. You switch into calibration mode and do the opposite of what feels comfortable. You assume your conclusion is wrong, completely wrong. Then you force yourself to find 3 strong reasons why that opposite position might be true. This breaks the illusion of certainty. It pulls you out of the mindset of "I must be right." It forces you to look at the decisions from the side of risk, failure, and disagreement. Very often, that is where the most valuable information is hiding. The second habit is starting from zero. This means wiping your mental slate clean. When you face a major decision that is new and high risk, such as moving to a new city for work, your first question should not be "what worked for me before?" Your first question should be, what if I knew nothing at all? Imagine you are encountering this situation for the first time. No past wins, no familiar routines, no trusted shortcuts. You only have the facts in front of you, the logic of the situation, and the data you can verify. This clears away the noise of old habits and helps you judge the present and the future on their own terms. The third habit is long-term value conversion. This is where the calibration system shows its real strength. This habit forces you to calculate what long-term value is actually worth today. It protects you from trading your future for short-term comfort. Imagine an opportunity that gives you a large amount of money right now. The reward is tempting, but the cost is giving up every weekend for the next year. The time you plan to use to learn a new skill. Your reaction system locks onto the money immediately. The calibration system asks a different question. If that new skill improves your income, flexibility, or career options over the next 10 years, what is that future value worth in today's terms? When you run that calculation, the short-term reward often shrinks fast. This shift moves you out of survival mode and into long-range planning mode. Only through this kind of deliberate and uncomfortable training can you reliably hand control to the calibration system when facing complex problems you have never encountered before. This brings us back to Bruce Lee. The most powerful part of his system was never speeding by itself. It was how deep thinking was used to design speed. A strong reaction system is not raw instinct. It is engineered automation. It is built, tested, and refined through long periods of calibration. Take close-range sensitivity training as an example. Two practitioners stay in constant contact at very close distance, reading pressure and movement to sense intention. The reactions are fast, extremely fast. But the goal of this training is not chaos. It is simplification. Movements like releasing force, entering openings, and adjusting angles are reduced to neurological reflexes. Once these patterns are transferred to the reaction system, they execute in a fraction of a second, faster than conscious thoughts can step in the early stages of training. However, the calibration system does all the work. You analyze why a defense failed. You study angles. You test different responses. You are slowly writing the underlying code of muscle memory through effortful thinking. After thousands of repetitions, that code stabilizes. At that point, it can be handed off to the reaction system for high-speed execution. This is the most efficient state a human can reach. Reduce complexity at the knowledge level. Increase efficiency at the action level. A truly skilled business leader does not need to deeply analyze every marketing plan. Their reaction system, shaped by decades of experience, can quickly estimate success rates and identify major risks. This kind of speed feels like intuition, but it is built on countless hours of slow thinking in the past. Complex business logic has been compressed into a few critical signals at the same time. When that same leader needs to define a 10-year strategy, they immediately switch into calibration mode. They slow down. They analyze. They simulate outcomes. Speed is no longer the goal. Accuracy is. So the real goal is not choosing speed over slowness or slowness over speed. The real goal is smooth switching between the two. You need to train yourself to activate calibration when designing better action programs, and then confidently hand those programs to the reaction system for execution at the deepest level. The lesson is simple. Use slow thinking to design. Use fast thinking to execute. The reaction system is your tactical commander. It thrives under time pressure and limited information. It helps you clear emails, solve small problems, and respond quickly when something unexpected happens. The calibration system is your life strategist. It protects you at major crossroads. It helps you avoid catastrophic mistakes and identify the highest long-term value. It guides career direction and relationship choices. If you rely only on the reaction system, your life becomes a loop of repeated patterns, fast, familiar, and limited by the past. If you rely only on the calibration system, you become someone who analyzes endlessly and never acts. True masters achieve both. Their reactions are fast beyond thought. Their calibration runs deeper than most people ever reach. So before your next important decision, ask yourself one simple question. Am I about to press the shortcut key or the reset key? That is the difference between reacting to life and designing it. We will continue next time.